Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys are having yourselves a wonderful March. Spring is here. Alex has been whooping my ass. That's damn sure. But we have a good show today. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss, a lot to digest. How's March Madness been for you guys? How's your bracket looking? I want to know about it. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. Happy Sunday to you all. Happy March Madness, like we just said. We're going to talk a little about the brackets here in just a little bit. We had over 90, I think, maybe 85 brackets submitted to the High Top Sports bracket, which excites me. I love that there's a lot of participation. I believe Muddy Waters' wife is leading it. Clearly, she didn't listen to him, as we all should have not. He has lost his credibility. I gave him so much hype leading into this March Madness, saying Muddy knows what he's talking about. Guy is dialed in. He's lost his card. We're ripping it away from him. If you guys need any advice on March Madness, call his wife. Muddy's in the doghouse. Okay, the guy's like 0 for a billion right now. But crazy news day, crazy couple of days here on. I just wanted to enjoy March. I just want to enjoy the greatest weekend of college basketball, and Florida seems to go, no, we're gonna have madness over the next 2 days, so you can't enjoy that. And here we are. It's never a dull moment. I mean, I love it. But just give me a weekend. I just asked for a couple of days. You know what I mean? I just asked to sit on the couch for 12 hours and not do anything. I don't ask for much, babe. I mean, Billy. Man, what a last couple of days there it has been. I did hit an 8-leg parlay last night, which I was pretty fired up about. Pretty jazzed up about that, of course. But let's talk all about it. Obviously, we woke up to some pretty interesting news. We got Swolder has been just thrashing Mr. Trevor Etienne, a.k.a. Tito's Etienne, as he's like to call him. It's mayhem. All right, we're going to talk about that. Then Myles Graham out for spring ball. Talk about that a little bit. And then a little debacle, hiccup, controversy with a 4-star commitment that happened yesterday, that didn't happen yesterday. Weird stuff. I was talking to people about it yesterday. So we'll talk about that and see what's going on. You know what sucks about this Trevor Etienne thing here? The jokes that I have just packed in my brain, ready to fire at will. It's disgusting. First of all, second of all, it's like it's too easy sometimes where you have to hold back. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to just bury people. There's just so many. I don't even want to go any further. Here's where I'm going to take this from two different approaches here. From a fan base, from the fan point of view, from how this breakup happened, right? Your ex-girlfriend, she moves on. It's like basically what happened here. Our ex-girlfriend left us and she went and got an STD. You know what I mean? You love it. You how can you not be excited for that to happen? From a human perspective, you don't want somebody to get an STD or to have something bad happen to them. But at the end of the day, nothing horrible happened. This will go away eventually. So it's like, you know what? Good riddance, karma. Like this is what you get for leaving the good sakings and the good lovings of Gainesville and Billy Napier, right? That's where there's part of the fan base. They're doubling down on it. I hate having this happen to this young man. He's 19 years old. We're like, wait, Trevor Etienne got a DUI at 19? Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. I hate having something like this happen to a kid. Bad decision, clearly. You know, and bro, there's so many ways that we can talk about this because I've seen people saying like, he's a young kid, he made mistakes, and I see that, and I agree with that 110%. But I even called Cody, and I was like, look, yes, have we all been young and made dumb decisions? Absolutely. I'm 30 and still make dumb decisions. We're going to make dumb decisions our entire lives. But just like anything, when you reach a certain level or you go to a certain place or you're the running back for the University of Georgia in an SEC program, you're held to a higher standard. It just is what it is. You have role models, and you hear people, I didn't want to be a role model. You didn't want a lot of things, but this is what comes with the role. This is what comes with this part of the territory. So to that I say, like, look, yes, he is a kid, but you have to also understand that when you're in this predicament, you grow up a lot faster. When you're being handed millions and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to play a game, that your childhood gets taken away from you, which is something that we talked about time and time again. So you can't play the kid card, but they want to be treated and act like an adult on the other hand. So at some point, those it gets a little, watery. These lines get watery, and this is where we're at with it. So I don't have the sympathy in the sense that he is a kid, because I think, again, when you make these decisions, you grow up a lot faster than you probably should. And that's just the world that we're currently in. That's what money in NIL has done. That's number one. Number two, the consequences. What happens here? Where does Kirby move on from here? I don't know. I was going back and forth. I like to kind of, think this through before I come on here and just start spewing my thoughts and opinions about it, because everybody, look, as a fan, as a Gator fan base, we're like, oh, you got to suspend him. You got to get rid of him, right? You got to kick him off the team. How do you not? I did see some Georgia fans on some message boards saying, we can't stand for this. We need to kick him off, because we're going to get into this. This is the third time now this has happened at Georgia. And so from a fan, from the opposing side, we're like, yeah, no brainer, right? And then I'm getting in with Cody. I'm like, look, don't forget, we had the AR situation where he had the reckless driving. He wasn't drinking. He was speeding, right? And obviously, we're just like, hey, let's handle this thing. Just Billy handle this thing. Like, no need to get AR. And I'm not trying to compare a DUI to reckless driving as the same thing, but both people were reckless driving. Both people were putting other lives into danger here. And so, look, it's Trevor Etienne. There's bad blood in her mouth. It's a DUI. It's much more, has a much more harsh look to it than the other ones. I understand that, and that's going to carry a lot of weight. Do you kick the kid off the team? I think Kirby and the University of Georgia are in an uncomfortable situation because of what has happened in prior. Obviously, by Jalen Carter, who got into the DUI. You had the young kids that got into the accident that obviously didn't make it from that accident. They were racing Jalen Carter, so you had that. Where the situation gets weird is because Jalen Carter went on to the NFL, so it wasn't like it was Kirby and Georgia's responsibility anymore. Then you have the Stetson Bennett situation, but again, after the season, this is the first time that's happened while he's still part, I guess, of the University of Georgia in a way. So now I feel like everyone's kind of looking like, when is this going to change? Because it seems to be starting to become a narrative, and obviously people are having a lot of fun with this on Twitter, just thrashing this situation, trying to make fun of me, obviously call them, prison university and all those good things. That part, it is fun to watch. And so now there's a huge question mark on the culture of what's going on. And again, I think part of it's culture. I think part of it's NIL. You're giving these kids, right? 18, 19, 20 years old, a lot of money, fast cars. They've got an ego, and it's a recipe for disaster. And here's what you get. Again, from somebody who spoke with Etienne, who knows Etienne not on a personal level, but had a conversation with them, just a very genuine kid. You could tell when you had a conversation. I hate it. I hate to see it happen to him. But from a fan base, it is a little funny. So it will be interesting to see what happens if he is kicked off the team. The underage drinking is a whole nother factor of it too. Again, and this is what we're arguing, would it be worse if it was just a DUI, but he was 21? Would it be worse? I don't know, right? We don't know. I don't think it's doing him any favors, given the fact that there was prior consequences to that. You got to believe and think that Georgia and Kirby have come out and said, like, hey, we have had a prior incident to this. There's no excuses for this moving forward. Best running back out of the portal. Here's the other factor. This is my other thought process too. Do you kick him off the team, knowing good well he's going to go into the transfer portal, and Lane Kiffin's going to go, hey, I mean, he dealt with his problems. We're going to go ahead and bring him on in, right? We lost our running back to Ohio State. And I would 100% see Ole Miss doing that. People think that he's going to kick off the team and all of a sudden just fall off the face of the earth. No, that punishment has now been served in all coaches' eyes, and now somebody's going to pick him up. And so is he really going to have the true consequence? Because the world we live in now, going into the portal is just like free agency. It's like, all right, I'm just going to go find a new house to go play in. You know what I mean? I believe last year or a couple years ago, if you were going to the portal to sit out a year, much, much greater consequence having to sit out an entire year. That could really backpedal your career, especially as a running back, where you're a dime a dozen and your lifespan as a running back is much shorter as it is. How I think this is going to roll out, my opinion, could be wrong. How I think this rolls out is Kirby doesn't even address it unless asked about it during an interview. He'll then say, well, we're handling it internally and it will be addressed, and that'll be it. And it'll go by the wayside. We'll roll right into August, It may get brought up one or two more times, but we won't hear about it again. That is my thoughts. I truly think that. To kick a guy off the team for this, I think would be a little bit much, in my opinion. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, and that's the shitty thing, man. Like, unfortunately, DUIs, I feel like they're parking tickets nowadays. Like, it's become more common, and they're not as they don't have the same amount of severity, I feel like, as they once did, which it's not okay because it's almost kind of like we're allowing it more and more. Again, what is the punishment going to be? I don't know. And this is where I was also talking too, because you have this mixture, right, of the way that we used to look at college football and the way that we look at it now. And where my head's at now is like you got to hold them accountable. You got to put a stop to this, because what are other players going to think? And I go back to the Marcus Stokes situation. And the reason why I bring this situation up, Marcus Stokes, the quarterback that said the N-word during singing the rap song, I bring this situation up because he was then released. He wasn't on the team yet. It was a recruit, a little bit different situation. He was released, but I spoke to his father afterwards, and we don't talk anymore, but he was very unhappy with the University of Florida. He felt, and he made it very vocal, and he said the other players felt kind of like, wow, like you kind of just threw him under the bus. They didn't support him. They didn't have his back, right? And kind of help him through this moment of like, hey, you made a mistake. No big deal. We're going to talk to him. We're going to work with him, make him a bigger man. That's the whole point of University of Florida. So there's two sides to this where it's like Trevor goes out and makes a poor decision. Georgia kicks him. They're like, wow, Georgia just, if you make a bad decision, they don't care to revamp you, right? That's one way that people may look at it. Then Cody's like, well, parents are going to see this and like, well, they don't even care what their kids do. There's a drinking problem. There's so many ways and so many different, avenues to navigate through this. There really isn't a right or wrong way to handle it. It's publicity. You have to navigate through it as it is and then see what happens out on the other side. And Marquette won by 4 points. Unbelievable. We had him at 4.5. Absolutely brutal. So we'll see. Obviously, I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments. What's happening? Your thoughts on this. CJ might, I hope he gets kicked off. Look, as other fans, we kind of have that frustration about it, and we're like, you know what? I hope you have an issue, because I think he only blew like a .08, I think, or 02. I can't remember now. And it was like 4:30 in the morning. So underage drinking is worse, and that was kind of where my thing was too, right? I think if you're 25, 28, 30, you have a beer, you blow just over the legal limit. Obviously, there's a legal limit for a reason. You had a little one too many. You didn't know how the alcohol was going to affect you. I think we as all adults can understand and maybe have a little more leniency, right? Of like, oh, he just blew over the legal limit. Like the guy had a beer and maybe didn't have an extra French fry to help level out his toxins, right? But you're underage. Like you took two steps in a way to break the rules, right? And that's where you chose to drink underage, which is number one, and then you chose to get into a car and drink, which obviously is a no matter how drunk or how many sips you had, right? Like and again, everyone's like, oh, you were trying to tell me that you didn't drink, you were underage. Yeah, I mean, obviously we all have had our sips of beers and things like that. I can honestly say that I never got behind the wheel of a car underage, thankfully. And one of my greatest advice I've ever got from my grandpa was like, look, the difference between me and a drunk drive and a guy who got a DUI is I just never got caught, right? So that was something that I always kind of like rang true to me, that I try not to. And now with a kid, I definitely don't like to put anybody in that situation. If you have a sip and you go for a drive. So, and I'm not trying to sit on some high stool, because everyone has their way of going about it and things like that. But I definitely drank when I was underage. But I was always at the house, or we had like a little house party with friends, and we hung out. So I never had to drive, but I also didn't have, $250,000 chilling in the bank, and went to a University of Georgia and had tons of frat parties to drive around to. So different strokes for different folks. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. He didn't blow it all during the traffic stop. That's what less safe means. Interesting. There are levels to this situation. They're called BAC levels. So we'll see. What's worse, DUI or crab legs? That's a good one, Johnny. That's a good one. Crime's a crime, right? Crime's a crime. He'll return, but won't last long. That is not so good. Oh, that's something else. Johnny Manziel was drunk every day but never drove. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, if you got a problem, at least you can manage it. So we'll see. That was before the NIL era. He just flew and had people drive him around. And nowadays, man, with Ubers, so many ways to avoid it. But I do have his record pulled up. We can see. I do have his this right here. It says, so reckless driving, $10 bond amount, materials that reduce visibility for windows. So obviously his tint was too high. And that's probably, honestly, if I had to get, bro, Georgia's law enforcement is absolutely insane. I hate driving through Georgia. Dude, they way they hide the hills they've got in Georgia, they hide on the overpasses. Like, they are dogs, pun intended, when it comes to pulling your ass over, dude. It is ruthless. I got pulled over one time to head into a Braves game. It was like middle of the night. We left at like midnight to get there early. I don't remember what time, but it was dark. And the cop is sitting in the median, and I can't see him because it's black. His lights are off. And I'm a little tired, so I'm probably swerving a little bit. You know, I don't quite remember, but I remember I drove past him and his high beams were on, and it hit me in the side of the face because I didn't see it as I was pulling up to us. I was kind of like dozing off a little bit, and then it hit me, so I kind of swerved a little bit. I was like, dang, that was bright. Like, his lights hit me. And then, of course, he flipped his lights on, comes pull me over. And, I mean, he's like, hey, everything good? I was like, yeah, you just scared the shit out of me. Like, I mean, I didn't know what was going on. Didn't give me a ticket, thankfully. That was probably the only time I didn't get in trouble. But, man, I see them going through Georgia, pulling people constantly over. So, I probably got him for his window tint. That was probably calling attention to yourself, to be honest with you. So, we'll see. I see, Johnny, it's jokes like that just get me fired up. I live in Georgia, Sheldon. It's not that bad, bro. I mean, I live in Florida, and comparably from Florida to Georgia, it's pretty rough. On the interstate, I think you get into the small towns, the Georgia cops don't care. The interstate, the state troopers is brutal. That part is bad. That part is bad. All right, boys and girls. Hey, happy to have all of you in here on this beautiful Sunday. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. So, next up, Myles Graham. You guys were talking about this a little bit in the chat. So, he is out for the spring. There was an injury, a lingering injury coming in from high school. So, this didn't happen during spring or while he was under Florida's watch. During high school, had him go through phase 1 and through phase 2. So, obviously, nothing that serious. But they kind of spoke about it, felt that, look, we don't want to have this thing lingering around. We want to be able to get it out of the way so we can have you back and ready to go for the regular season. I hate this. It sucks because this was somebody, again, enrolled early, was making huge strides in a linebacker room, obviously going to compete for a starting position. A little bit of a setback, a minor setback, nothing major, obviously. But I hate it. I was really excited to see him in the spring game. Obviously, we're not going to see him now. How much time is he going to be out? I don't know, probably 6 to 8 weeks, I would say. So if we can get him back before, right in time for the summer camp, it would be as if he didn't enroll. So he'll be coming in with Aaron Childs, basically. But going through phase 1 through phase 2, I think he I already put on some weight. Those things were important. Hopefully he can maintain those weights. I mean, he was on the practice field with the non-contacted jersey hanging out. So it doesn't look like it kind of put him completely out of work. So I like the decision. It was obviously needed for whatever reason. But thankfully, the linebacker room does have a little more depth this year. Again, I kept saying the quality is still unknown, but there is a lot of quantity headed into this year. But Myles Graham was somebody that I was fired up. And I am still fired up about it, but really was looking forward to see what he was going to be able to do headed into the spring game, and now we won't be able to see that. So we'll see. As for what it was, I don't know. We don't have much detail on the injury or the surgery. I think some people kind of have speculations of what it could be. Nobody truly knows exactly what it was. Billy didn't, disclose any information on that. I will say I haven't watched his interview entirely yet. I do want to do a separate video on that. Might do that later on today, but watched a little bit of it. And the first thing he said, comes out to the press conference. He goes, the changes we have made on the field coaching staff-wise have been tremendous. And as a coach, you expect him to say that, but even he said, he goes, look, it's even lit a fire under my ass. So he didn't say that exactly, but in so many ways. And he started with Ron Roberts. And so how I think about it, right? Because for me, when you're trying to think of something, you don't want to insult anybody. You're trying to display excitement, but not too much. So in his head, he's like, man, Ron Roberts has been crushing it. And he goes, Will Harris and Gerald Chapman, and then named a few other guys, almost as if to look, everyone's doing a good job. But Ron Roberts was off the dome, and I think something we've talked about it. I was excited about it when we had Jake Crane. He even said that kind of how the great things he's going to be able to do. I'm excited. I'm excited for what we're able to do. Also, I can't think of his. Oh, JD from On Three dropped a video today, which is funny because it's something we've talked about on the show. But again, it goes back to what I always say. We may say it over and over and over again. I can say it, but because we know how I think and how I feel, that it may feel a little biased, and I'm just saying it because I'm trying to tell lies and pump things up. But I look, I'm honest. I like to keep it a buck with you guys. I like to get excited, but I keep it 100 with you. And JD Pickle was like, look, they went 5-7 last year, which we've talked about plenty of times. Outside of 2 games, South Carolina, Mizzou, which mistakes that could have easily been corrected or fixed or not, preventative. You're going 7-5, and the energy is much different probably headed into the season. Maybe we keep a recruit or two, and things are a little more exciting. With the schedule we had, he was kind of alluding to could lead to some playoff chaos, given the fact that, look, here's why I like why our schedule is so tough. We lose 3 games, but the other 9 we win, and they're dominant wins. And given how the rest of the landscape plays out, you're looking at a Florida at a 9-3 team possibly fighting for that 12th spot. That's how this is looking, and that's what I think he was kind of alluding to, is they could be a recipe for some chaos because you've got this really good team that all of a sudden won some games that weren't expected to win, have the hardest schedule in college football history, which is going to just give you a shit ton of points in a sense of how you rate somebody. There are 3 losses coming to, let's say, Texas, Georgia, and throw anyone in there, FSU, LSU, right, a third one. Those are 3 good losses, right? And then also their 9 wins are really good wins. And that's something that I kind of keep beating the drum on too, is that don't sleep on the dogs. Got to go get some W's, and we'll see. And everyone's all fired up because JD Pickle said it. I've been saying it the whole damn time. But we'll see how we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. When Myles Graham over here, any more information about it, we will let you know. Now, the other drama that happened yesterday, unbelievable, dude. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but I'm fired up. I'm watching some March Madness, and I see this come through. And Keon Young, we've heard some murmurs that he could commit to the Florida Gators. Saw that he came on our show. We spoke to him. Felt like he was confident in being a Gator. 4-star safety. Commits to the Florida Gators yesterday. We're fired up. We're excited. 10 minutes doesn't go by, and everyone's like, nope, this isn't right. This isn't real. It's not happening. Florida didn't take it. So essentially, Florida did not agree on the commitment. Apparently, at some point, the offer was taken. Because how this works, from my understanding, is, they give Keon an offer, and now it's up to Keon to accept it and go, yep, I'm going to commit. So the offer, from what I'm aware of, was out there, 110%. There was mutual agreement that he was going to commit. Chose to wait a little bit. Whether that wasn't communicated to Keon or not, that part we don't know. However, he then told Hayes Fawcett, somebody from On 3, let's rock and roll, drop the graphic. They dropped the graphic. Florida's like, whoa. This is not the case. Not the case at all. So then you got 2 sides to this. You got people yelling at On 3 and Hayes Fawcett for dropping a graphic. Like, what are you doing? You're trying to sabotage us. You got other people blaming Billy and staff, saying for not communicating. It's a small, minor hiccup. It's nothing crazy. It feels like when it rains, it storms, and it goes back to one of those things of throwing 2 guys in the same jersey on the football field. Like, it's not a big deal, but why now, right? Like, let's clean this shit up. I don't know what happened. I don't know who it was to blame. I'm kind of past that. My more thought process of wanting to look into everything is like, okay, why, right? We love the guy. What happened? Something from what I'm looking at, I know Hilton Stubbs is somebody that Florida has been targeting, safety as well. I know a DJ Pickett, somebody who we were heavy on. Then it looked like we were nowhere near. Then we talked just the other day, 2 weeks ago, that DJ Pickett was kind of back into the mix, right? He mentioned that himself, that Florida was back into the mix. Could that be the reason? We also know that recruiting budget was increased. Could we maybe be exploring more options when before we felt like we had a tighter budget, so we were looking elsewhere? Again, I think he's a 227 ranked player, so he's not like he's a top 100 player. And so I think there could be it's a positive thing on the Florida side. Feel horrible for Keon Young. Absolutely horrible for Keon Young that this happened. If I had to guess that this relationship is gone, I don't see this coming back. Even if Florida does decide, like, all right, you know what, we'll take you. If I'm Keon Young, unless there isn't any other greater options out there, I don't see this working out because of just how, like, the kid's got to be a little frustrated. Like, what the hell, dude? Like, you pulled my offer? I don't know. Very weird and situation how it unfolded. It happens from time to time. I mean, Kendall Jackson, it happened with him in Miami. The exact same thing happened. He committed to Miami after the Florida and him kind of mutually decided that it's like, hey, we kind of feel we have this spot of need. We don't really needed you as much as we thought we did. That separation and splits. He then commits to Miami. Miami beat writers are like, I don't think we have an offer for him. And then the day of signing day, he signs to Texas A&M. So it happens quite often. I think there's another one like 2 years ago to Texas. It constantly is going back and forth. So it just feels like, why does it always happen to us? Why do we keep having these hiccups? I don't know. I don't think that it just why us. I don't think why it keeps happening to us. I think it's more so the fact that there's just so many people covering Florida football because it is such a popular and viral brand that, again, somebody breathes or pisses in just a direction that's different. You're going to hear about it. You're going to know about it. Just like today with the Trevor Etienne situation, everyone's posting him in a photo of a Florida outfit, or the Florida uniform. There's plenty of clips out there and plenty of graphics of him in a Georgia uniform. He is not a Florida running back. Florida's name should be nowhere near or associated with this whatsoever. However, we keep getting that keeps surfacing. Again, I know he's still new to Georgia, but it just the Florida brand just carries a lot of weight to it, and I don't know. It is what it is. I feel like we're like the Von Erich family. I just watched Iron Claw the other day, and the whole movie is around the Von Erich family being cursed. And by golly, they were cursed. And it was like, how does this keep happening? I don't know if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And that's how it feels right now. It's like, how does this? Why? How is this even possible at this point that this keeps happening? I don't know. Those answers I don't have for you today. Yeah, Mom, great answer. Too many hands in the mix, and that's kind of part of it too. I think there's just so many people writing about it, talking about it, constantly involved, wanting to be first. That's part of it too. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe, boys and girls. We had a little watch party with the Gators versus Colorado. Absolutely tough loss. Brutal loss. I was beyond devastated, beyond pissed. Unexcusable to give 102 points, but by golly, the officiating the entire tournament has been absolute dog shit. It's almost made the tournament unwatchable to a point. It's made me very frustrated. And I stand by, I hate that I'm doing this. I stand by that I hate complaining about refs. I hate complaining that refs make a factor, have an impact, but it's just a mutual thing. It's not like for one team or another. It's just, you're killing the game. Like, I don't know. It's not letting them play. You're slowing the game down. It feels like they have way too much control over the game right now. And it's brutal. That's just basketball in general, unfortunately. The players play into it. It's just kind of the way that it is. I think refs need to get together and kind of set a standard early on. Like, hey, let's let them play and figure out what a foul is and what isn't a foul. So we will see. Etn to, I don't know what that is, Hofstra University. Let me know in the comments, guys. Do you think Trevor Etienne will be kicked off the team? I should have done a poll. Should we do a poll? Be interesting to see. Again, a lot of Florida fans in here. I know what your thoughts and opinions are going to be. You want him off the team just to kind of say F you to Georgia. So it's not like there's like a actual thought process behind this. Because if the roles were reversed, if he was at Florida and this happens, I don't think we're clamoring for the same thing. How does Colorado go from 33 free throws against UF to only shooting 7 against Marquette? Yeah, dude, wild, bro. Wild how many free throws they had. Only 7 today? That's insane. That's insane. Matthew Walker, Honest in Sports. I like that name. Let's see here. If that's true and Keon Young committed and they didn't accept the offer, that might mess up their ties to Lakeland. Yeah, look, it's not it. It sounds like we definitely pulled the offer. We said no. That's exactly what happened, Tawan. So, yeah, you got to think, how does that affect the relationship with him? How does that affect the relationship with Lakeland? A lot of things that were, again, it's a small hiccup in the line that's not needed. That's not needed. That is for sure. So be sure to smash the like button, boys and girls. I'm gonna take a look at Billy's presser. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch, we usually like to break it down. Haven't had a chance to watch it. Been completely, locked into March Madness. Hey, every day's a new day, baby. Today's a new day. We got the over running so far. It looks like I might have to refresh the bets because they lost already in the first game to Marquette -4.5. Thought that was an absolute lock, but it is what it is. So, Ricky, I'm going to get everything dialed back in, big guy. No worries. Georgia's going to kick Etienne off the team. Kirby will do the Bobby Bowden approach and make him run. Oh, isn't. Thank you. Isn't going to kick him off the team and make him run some extra stairs. He'll be in uniform for the opener and honestly should be. And that's exactly what I think, Barone71. That's my thoughts exactly. Look, if it happens again, then yeah, for sure. But he's gone. But as of now, I don't see this happening whatsoever of him being kicked off. And I don't think that he should. I genuinely, honestly don't. From a fan, would it be, will we laughing? Will we have a day? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Dave hasn't stopped tweeting since it's happened. So I can only imagine what would happen. If I were an UGA fan / alum, I want him off the team completely. Guy hasn't played it down or done anything for the school, then gives a black eye to the team, would make me mad. That is also a great point, Jacob. And there were some fans that were a little upset. Their connection to Trevor isn't as strong as ours is, and that's a solid point, right? Let's say Joey Slackman comes, right? Obviously, we have no connection to him, although we already love Joey Slackman. And does something like that. Will we be more inclined to kick him off the team? It's like, bro, you haven't been here a month and you're already giving us a bad look. We don't need that right now. True. I think Kirby and Georgia's 2 national championships have a little bit. So, wow, Lakeland has the Pounceys, Rainey's, Ahmad, Black. They're coaches there or they're just from there? So on. And that's the thing, too, I was thinking about Barone71. And it goes back to how I was even talking to Cody about this and watching Swamp Kings, right? Barone says, what Etienne did was irresponsible, dangerous, and a bad choice, but it will be a learning opportunity. We remember all the things that happened on Swamp Kings, right? We kind of wear it as a badge of honor as Gator fans. There was I can't remember the guy's name, but Urban kicked a kid off the team. He ended up being, I think, murdered or killed himself because he just couldn't pull himself out of it. I can't remember exactly the situation of what happened. And at that point, Urban was like, I'm never going to kick a kid off the team again because I feel responsible for their future, right? It's our responsibility to take them under our wing and help them grow as men. And that was what I was saying is like, you make one bad decision, and Trevor does not. Now, from what we know, maybe Trevor has a history of doing things, that we haven't heard of, might change what happens to him. But as for what we know, public-wise, we don't know if Trevor is clean as a whistle as far as we know. Makes a bad decision. Thankfully, nothing worse came from it. This is a learning opportunity. This is a growing opportunity. And that's how I think Kirby's going to approach this. It's like, I'm not going to just quit on the kid because of a poor decision. This is an opportunity for me to step in even stronger and show here at the University of Georgia, we help elevate and grow these young men for a better opportunity. And that's what we're going to do here today. And that the thing gets washed and it gets clean. That's how I look at it. Honestly. Can we pivot and talk about the spring transfer window opening and news on transfers in or out? Great question, McPlass. I love that transfer. So it's just funny. 18 will be just fine. Yeah, agreed. 110% LFGM. I think you're spot on. We finally agree on something. I haven't heard anybody on transferring out. I haven't heard a single peep on people transferring out. Now, on people transferring in, not much. I think it's been very quiet on the front end. It opens up in May, so we've still got some time. I think once the spring game happens, I think we'll get a better idea. Guys are still playing for spots. We just had spring break, so there's been kind of only a few practices. I don't think there's enough data yet to see if guys are like, you know what, this isn't it for me. And I'm not quite sure about the process I'm bringing guys in as well too. So, like I said, I think once we get past the spring game, I think we'll have a lot more. That's where I stand on it. I don't think anybody leaves, and if it is somebody, I think it's gonna be in a lower echelon. I don't think we should have any surprises. I don't think so. I hope not. Great question though. Maybe this is hypothetical. This is completely off the dome here. The wide receiver room. That would be the only thing I could see, just because I feel like there's a lot of talent there. Maybe guys are like, you know what, I'm not gonna play. But Hot take, Zay Money hits the portal and comes to Florida. He was on spring break, like a whole bunch of recruits there. Has to be some talks. Zay Mincy from Alabama. Very interesting. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. So, look, I think we should have a lot of good news for the spring. I think. Could be nothing. Who knows? Wouldn't be surprised to see some guys like Moten, Frazier's, and Weston transfer. Yeah, like those are lower end guys. Weston was somebody who only given the fact that he's now changed his position for a fourth time. I think he's gonna go all in on being this edge rusher. Moten, I don't think so either. But Jaquavion Frazier's wide receiver room, absolutely yes, Senior guy last year. But at the same time, it's like, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go in this last second and get picked up and be a star-studded guy? Like, just ride your time out here at Florida, have a moment. That's my point. Some of these guys, like, they're so far kind of removed. It's like, you may not play at all, right? So, DJ Pickett got to show more interest in Florida. It's Dubs. Yeah, that's my thing about the Keon thing. I think the Keon thing, in a way, is a positive. It's a pro for Florida. It just didn't come out that way, unfortunately, because of how the entire situation was handled. So, we'll see. We will see. Yeah, I don't think Frazier leaves. I could see it, but I don't think he leaves. You can, but you have to sit out a year. So, okay, so if you transfer the spring portal from conference to conference, you have to sit out a year. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, boys and girls, I hope you guys enjoyed this Sunday show. Sunday show. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and fire up some more. What's going on here? I got the real deal sending me the mugshot of Trevor Etienne. He looks different in his mugshot. But I gotta fire up some more parlays since Marquette blew it for me. But you guys have yourselves a fantastic Sunday. Of course, we'll see you guys tomorrow. You know we're going to be rocking and rolling on Monday's show. I might have one later on tonight. We'll see. But I love you. Be good. Philip says, your beats got me jumping. Go Gators. Love your show, bros. Thank you, guys. Love you guys. Be good. Smash the like button. Subscribe. Peace and love, baby.